Hey guys, my name's Riley. I'm 25 and I was crazy skeptical about tarot readings and psychics until my prophecy came true. This was all on account of the guy who I thought was the love of my life. I'm talking about my fiance slash boyfriend slash ex slash I don't even know what. Anyways, his name is Dallas, and when we first got together, everything made sense, but now it's a big mess. I guess relationships can be confusing and, messy. The root of our trouble seemed to reside in the roots of our attraction. We were just so different that we fit together in an opposite kind of perfect way. We met on a blind date that my best friend Charlene set us up on, and I almost didn't even go when I found out that Dallas was an athlete. He played minor league baseball, but I kind of hated sports. I just didn't understand how somebody could watch people run after a ball for 3 hours. Even my dog got bored. I'm a bookworm myself. I work as a zookeeper, and I preferred my time with animals to humans. But Dallas was more of a social creature. I thought a lot about science, but Dallas was more spiritual, as he described it. But believe it or not, we had a great time on the date. And when he asked me out a second time, I jumped at the chance. I loved how he brought me out of my shell. He said I grounded him, so I guess it all balanced out. We dated for a few months, and then we got exclusive, and then serious. He proposed, and I didn't even have to think about it. I took his ring and jumped into a kiss. But trouble in paradise came with the wedding plans. Dallas wanted a huge number of guests. It was like he was planning the party of the century. But I was more interested in something intimate. He got offended when I asked him to cut his guest list in half. And he told me that I was a stick in the mud. I don't know if he just had the jitters or we were both afraid of tying the knot. But we got into this argument that ended horribly. He said maybe we should postpone the wedding. And for the first time since we were together, I began to doubt if we were really meant to be or not. Charlene told me we were great together. We just had to get on the same page. I suggested we go to couples counseling. Dallas agreed and said that he too wanted to fight for our love. But he thought therapists and counselors thought too much with their heads and not enough with their hearts. So his suggestion was that we see a psychic. A psychic? I said. You gotta be kidding me. I told him that stuff was a bunch of bull roar. It's not bull roar, he said, and he went on to tell me that some psychic predicted that he was going to be a great baseball player, and he said I should be more open-minded. But psychics were phonies, I told him. Oh yeah? We'll prove it, he said. I just thought he was being so pig-headed about it. I mean, I'll tell you something. When I was in college, I used to drive back from campus to my hometown all the time, and there were dozens of these psychic huts off the side of the highway on my route. Just once, I thought, I should careen off the road and crash right into one of those psychic places. And then when the fortune tellers were staring at the rubble I created, I'd get out and yell, "Bet you didn't see that coming." I guess it was fair to call me a skeptic, which Dallas did, but I just couldn't accept it. Then maybe you can't accept me, he said. We both wanted it to work, and he agreed to go to couples counseling with me. The therapist seemed wise and helped us remember why we got together in the first place. I thought it was going well, and we started to rekindle our flame. During one session, however, I got a little irritated. Dallas brought up his spiritual interests and talked about how he wanted us to see a psychic together. I thought the therapist was going to laugh him right out of his office. But he actually said I should be more accepting of his beliefs. The following week, Dallas and I went to one of those corny-looking shops. There were all these mystical symbols painted on the walls, and calypso music played from rattled speakers behind a fog of incense. We went to the back, where this fortune teller lady was sitting behind a crystal ball. She spoke real slow, talking about the great uncertainty of our lives. She had a raspy voice and said she was going to do a tarot card reading for us. It would tell us our futures and whether we were on the right path together. We started with a simple question: is our love meant to be? The fortune teller lady told us that we couldn't separate love from the other aspects of our lives, and that it was infused within us. She did mention that we were quite different, me being an Aries and Dallas being a Libra. I can't pretend to know exactly what she was doing with these cards, but she started placing them face down in front of us. She was moving her hands around like a magician, trying to trick us. The cards showed strange images with moons and cups and queens and kings. The look on the fortune teller's face seemed to be suddenly filled with fright, and she scowled over the cards. In short, she told us a threefold prophecy, but she wouldn't be direct. She said that as a couple, we have a rocky path ahead of us, that I would encounter a great beast that would almost end my life, and when it came to love, we would each have to find it in a new face. A new face? What kind of crap advice was that? It was exactly why I wanted to see a licensed therapist, not some kind of wacko soothsayer. Dallas and I argued about it on the way home, and it seemed like we took 2 steps backwards, and all our problems were back on the table. We were just so different. I didn't see how we would get along. Just then, a transport truck in front of us hit a bump, and all these mining rocks spilled out, and the car ran it over. Well, of course, Dallas took that as another sign. And since we couldn't stop arguing, we just called off the wedding. I was lonely and heartbroken, and I was blaming it all on those stupid tarot cards, which were nonsense in my view. I tried to focus on work and sunk back into my solitude. I found myself talking to the animals at the zoo more than people. Charlene was trying to get me to meet other guys. She wanted me to come with her to this Halloween costume party. But I didn't want to do anything other than feel sorry for myself. But one day at work, everything changed. I was just going in to feed the great beast when a crow flew out of nowhere and snatched the keys out of the cage door. And before I could do anything, somebody accidentally knocked into the door and it slammed shut. There I was with the lion. I had never been so scared in all my life, and I climbed up the cage bars until help arrived. The event made me rethink everything. Suddenly, I wanted to live like never before. I thought I had been wasting my time ruminating about the past. I needed to live for the day. I hit up Charlene and said I wanted to go to the party. She was thrilled, and she helped me put on this really cool Day of the Dead makeup. And I was totally into the idea of meeting somebody new at the party. And when we got there, the party was packed. They played great music, and everyone was dancing. Strangely enough, I saw this really good dancer who was dressed as a lion. We did hit a drive over a rocky path, and I did brave a great beast. Maybe this was the new face of love. I shimmied my way closer to the lion man, and we ended up dancing all night. It was too loud to talk, but I felt a connection. Later, we went out to get some air, and when the lion took off his mask, I was startled to see Dallas looking back at me. And he didn't know it was me under my makeup until I told him. Well, maybe these are the new faces that the fortune teller prophesied. At that moment, everything made sense. The fortune teller was right in the weirdest way possible. I learned that it's okay to be different in a relationship. It's part of what makes love go round. There's this simple proverb that I hold dear to my heart now. Opposites attract. It's how you manage the push and pull of the allure that matters. Dallas and I got back together, and the wedding's back on. This time, I'm a little bit more open to his ideas, and I realized there's no one way to do things. Have you ever fallen in love with somebody really different from you? Tell us about it in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more hidden wisdom stories. Remember, when you share our stories, you're sharing wisdom.